Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno, and look at this.
What?
Hello, everybody. I'm pleased to be here.
Are you?
Fortunately, I have to be with those two
I'm glad
guys.
somebody is. Let's take a look, shall we, at how the bookies have things set for the Champions League final that kicks off in less than 24 hours in Munich. PSG are your favourites to win their first ever Champions League. Inter coming in at 13-10. Here flying the flag for both sides, Inter Milan's biggest supporter, Don Hutchinson's with us with all his Inter blood. Meanwhile, Julian Laurent and his whole family are camped out in Munich ahead of today's game. Jules, here's my concern. It's not going to be rubbish, is it?
All right, then.
No, don't worry about that. That's the last. That should be the last of your worries, because PSG can only play one way. We've said that all along this season, especially since the turn of the year when things have clicked for them. They will only play one way, and yeah, maybe Inter will be a bit more cautious. We'll have that experience. We'll be savvy, which they're very good at. They're very good tactically. They're always very organised. But as we saw against Barcelona, they can still make a great game, and I really expect a good final tomorrow.
Savvy, though. That's a word that concerns me. Don, Inter, eh?
Told you, they don't get the love and respect they deserve over the years, but they're here again. They're here again. They're in a Champions League final again. Inzaghi does it again.
Oh, that's it. Good.
That's it. Can they do it?
Obviously,
Good job,
because of Don's fascinating answers, we're desperate for content. So what do we do when we're for that? It is a combined 11 from Don Hutchinson, taking a look at both squads. Have you put any PSG players in it, Don?
Yeah, some of them.
Of course I have. I think I've been very fair. I mean, how do you try and put a combined 11 when both teams play completely different systems? So that was tricky. But listen, I think I've gone with the side that's pretty much ridiculously good, by the way. The two fullbacks, best fullbacks I think in world football. Bastoni would get in there alongside Marquinhos. I mean, try trumping those three in midfield, and then Kvaratskhelia and Dembele either side of Lautaro Martinez. So I think that's some 11, by the way. I think I've done quite well.
Well done. Pat yourself on the back. Don, Jules, do you agree?
I haven't seen it yet.
You can't see it. Oh, you need Frank Zoom return.
From what Don says, it sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, I would have Lautaro and Bastoni every day, and then you can make a case for Çalhanoğlu potentially with Vitinha and somebody else in that midfield three. I love João Neves. I think he brings so much to this PSG team. So yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, I would have thought that Don would have thought about Neves. Really, he showed to the world his character, his consistency, and his talent for sure. More than Fabian Ruiz for me.
Let's take a look then. We've ticked that box. Let's take a look at everybody's predictions for the final. Ali, let's start with you. Let's take a look at how you think this is going to play out.
Hey.
2-1. Oh, God, I've gone with the same as Don.
Is that a good thing?
Definitely not with his...
Probably not.
So Inter wins on penalty for you?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what I would say is that while Inter have all the things that Jules mentioned and Don has mentioned over the course of the whole year, it's also true that they had a good amount, and I mean a good amount of good fortune in order to get to this point. We think of Inter as savvy, as Jules just mentioned, and organized and what have you. They allowed 6 goals in 2 matches against Barcelona, and they allowed a bunch of chances to Bayern Munich. In fact, I would argue that they were second best to Bayern Munich and second best to Barcelona, and they're quite fortunate to be in this final. Now, you could also say that they have been very efficient, very effective, very opportunistic, and when they have been called upon to make one big play in one key moment, they've done so. They're going to have to do that again tomorrow. I don't think it's quite enough. I think PSG, on the whole, the totality of PSG is superior to that of Inter.
You've gone 3-1. You've gone convincing, no problem, easy.
Because I have to say the truth, I've been disappointed with the 2 legs that they played against Barcelona, Inter Milan. I really thought they were the favourites, and I put Inter Milan winning the Champions League before those 2 games against Barcelona, because they, for me, were the perfect picture of what the Italian football used to be. Strong at the back, scoring 1 goal, bye-bye, winning, getting the 3 points and being qualified. But after those 2 games, I changed my mind because they opened up and they scored goal. There they went through, but they conceded 6 goals. And that's not what I was expecting from them. And I think against Paris Saint-Germain and a very talented forward line, they're not gonna win that final.
In English, we have an expression, liar, liar, pants on fire. Mm-hmm. Is there something similar in French? Like if someone is a liar?
No, yeah, un menteur, toujours un menteur, but I think it goes with what you say.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what we can describe as Jules with his prediction.
Why is that?
You don't think Inter are going to win 1-0, Jules?
I do. Listen, the hard prediction very much is with Ali and Frank, and I want PSG to win so bad. As you said, half of my family is here. My kids, my brother, my cousins, my best friend, literally, it would be amazing. And I think Inter don't have the legs to go and press PSG high, and PSG will have the ball and will be able to probably dictate the tempo of the game, no problem. But Inter have two things. The experience that is so valuable when you get to a final. Let's not forget, this is a very young PSG team, the youngest in the competition, against the oldest, against the team that was there 2 years ago. This is PSG are ahead of schedule. We said that all along this season, as great as they've been in 2025. The plan was not to win it this year. It was next year, year 2, probably year 3 even of this project under Luis Enrique. And set pieces, I'm so scared of set pieces. And you know what? I can see a scenario where PSG play great. They have chances, they have the ball, they're fun. They don't take those chances. Inter's corner set piece. We lose 1-0 and I cry my eyes out.
Yeah, but the thing is, what do you do, Jules, with the curse of losing the first final and winning straight after?
Yeah,
it's what happens. I don't know the record for Inter, but it's going to work for Paris Saint-Germain because
as a former professional, Frank,
yeah.
How much of a difference does that make? That Inter, only 2 years ago, were in a final as the losing side. How much does that provide motivation? How much is there a bit of a hangover? Does it have any effect?
I think it puts and brings more pressure to Inter's players.
Right.
Where we can't lose twice in a row and we have to win it. But it goes the same for Paris Saint-Germain. The last final they lost it, but that was their first final, and it's always like that. Chelsea have been through that, and so many other clubs have been through that. But I think
this was the 11 that lost against Manchester City.
Yeah, I think for Inter, especially for Lautaro Martinez, Varela, Bastoni, those players who are still there, they want to win. They don't want to be losers, you know, or runner-ups, if you want to be nice. But they want to win, and because of the pride, and it's got the same for Marquinhos, for example, was belonging to the team who lost the Paris Saint-Germain final.
Ali, advantage or disadvantage that you were here 2 years ago?
Okay, if we just take the starting 11 from Inter against Manchester City, I would say, and I would take this team, that team that lost to Manchester City, I would take them to win tomorrow against PSG. I don't think that the version of Inter that we have this season is better than that version of Inter, because defensively, that team was what we think and picture of what an Italian team should be, according to you, Frank. Mm-hmm. It's not what we have seen from Inter. Defending hasn't been an area of strength for Inter. And so I look at areas that trouble me if I'm Inter. We saw the mismatch that it was Lamine Yamal against Di Marco, for example. And it was a mismatch. And I can see a version of the same thing happening tomorrow. I can see isolation by Dembele or Due or Kvaratskhelia, and the outside against the Inter outside players. I can also see a mismatch in the midfield, the dynamic movement of the PSG players in that midfield. If they get going, Vitinha, Neves, Fabian Ruiz, they have the legs and they have the quality on the ball to get around Çalhanoğlu, and to get around Mkhitaryan, to get around Barella. So the areas that we consider of strength of Inter can be actually exposed by PSG. And again, you do the math and it doesn't add up for Inter. But the one thing that you hang on to if you're Inter is that you have experience and you have know-how. Right. And that has to be enough. If that's not enough, if it's about quality and quality of execution, I still think that PSG is a superior team.
Do you agree with Ali, Don?
No. I think if you go back to the Arsenal game, and I refer back to that game because it was something I'd not really seen before, when you think of potentially Inter's best two players, and Bastoni and Di Marco would come into that conversation against Arsenal, and he dropped the pair of them. He played Darmian on Bukayo Saka to stop him, and he played Jan Bissek on the left of the three, who's very physical, he's quite athletic, very, very strong, and he nullified Arsenal's left-hand side because he realised that if you stop Arsenal's left-hand side, you stop potentially probably 75% of what they do. Now, I know they've got wide players that can hurt you on either side, but Dumfries is quite capable of, you know, being up and down that right-hand side all night long, even if it goes into extra time. So, yes, the strength of PSG is keeping the ball in midfield. The strength is getting the ball out wide to two wingers who are very direct and pacey and technical. But at the same time, I think Inzaghi's men don't mind suffering. They're not a defensive side, far from it. To Jules' point, he made a good point, of the older side in the competition, just under 30, so they've got loads of experience. So I think you look at a game, that's why I've gone for a 1-1 and Inter win on penalties. I think you look at a cagey game. I think you look at a very tactical game. It'll be nothing like the Barca game. It'll be nothing like the 4-3 game. It will not be end-to-end. I think Inter will try and manage it.
Ballon d'Or people want to get a Nations League, Jules.
There are lots of things at stake for Dembélé and for the rest of the players in France. You know, and Dembélé said that on the show in France today, Sunday, sorry, where with Kylian Mbappé and Marcus Thuram, they talk a lot about the Champions League, and they say they want to get that cup. And they want to get the Ballon d'Or as well. So it's a big competition within the national team of France, and they want to reach that. But Dembélé knows this season is his season, and the consistency that he has shown so far can be paid off because of that Champions League final. If they win, if he scores one goal, as Jules said, he's going to get the Ballon d'Or, which we know that's very important in your career, but he's going to get everything that he's looking for.
Jules, where's Gab? Is he on? Which bed has he got?
A bigger one.
He's not in this hotel. This is too posh for him. He's somewhere like.
Too posh for Gab. Goodness me, you've done well to leave
the camp.
You've done well to film it. Don, why aren't you there?
I'm just taking a few days off before I start the Club World Cup, so I'm looking forward to watching it on the TV.
You have to speak Italian.
We spent 20 minutes, by the way. We spent 20 minutes and no one's mentioned Lautaro Martinez.
All right, go on then.
No one's mentioned him, so keep an eye on him.
Go on then, mention him.
He's amazing. He scores in all the big. Well, he scores in the big finals, doesn't he? He scored in the Copa America final. I think the last World Cup probably wasn't his World Cup. I think Julian Alvarez sort of stole the show, but listen, I wouldn't bet against him scoring in the final for sure.
I would say that Jules mentioned Lautaro Martinez. I'm just saying. If Don is paying attention, Lautaro Martinez was mentioned.
Yes, indeed. You can have that. Frank, how much is this going to set a precedent for PSG going forward? Are they going to be losers of another final? Or how much does this change the narrative around them if they go and win in Munich?
It's hard to say, you know. It's hard to say. As I said, lots of things at stake. Paris Saint-Germain has to win because the club... the country behind them, not only France, but Qatar.
Want PSG
I'm not talking about France. I'm talking about Qatar. They want to win. They want to win.
Do France want them to win?
Oh yes, most people, except Eric Dimeco, the former Marseille player. It was funny, but it's true that Marseille is the only team who won the Champions League.
Yeah.
But I think, overall, and Jean-Pierre Papin say that, Basile Boli say that too, and so many other players, Didier Deschamps as well, former Marseille players, they say that they want Paris Saint-Germain to win. It's overall, it's France winning, and we need another team to get the Champions League final.
Now, we've heard Carlo Ancelotti speaking for the first time about Brazil since taking the role, of course, as national team manager. My Brazil will play like Real Madrid, but not like the Real Madrid this year. Brilliant. Rather like Real Madrid last year. It's the best national team in the world. That's not just my opinion. It's the 5 stars on their shirts. No other national team can match them. Now I've got the challenge of winning the 6th. I fully accept the challenge of bringing the 6th World Cup to Brazil, but to do so we need the whole country to be behind us. Gustavo Hoffmann joins us. Gustavo, I'm amazed how much coverage this has had in Brazil and really around the world. This appointment has kind of eclipsed anything that Vinicius Jr. has done or Neymar this year. It's all about Ancelotti, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Hello, everyone. Well, the expectation with the arrival of Carlo Ancelotti in Brazil is very, very high. So people in Brazil are counting the days for the first match. For the first match of Brazil with Carlo Ancelotti will be against Ecuador. It's a very tough match in Ecuador. So we had already the call-up of the players, no Neymar with Vinicius Jr., the return of Casemiro. So the expectations is also to see what team will Carlo Ancelotti line up against Ecuador and then Paraguay in São Paulo. That's the main question now. He said that Brazil will play like his Real Madrid, but not the last Real Madrid, the Real Madrid from the last season. So let's see. He said some weeks ago, not a long time ago, that his main tactical. His favorite tactical nowadays is the 4-4-2 formation. Let's see if he will line up Brazil in a 4-4-2 formation with Vinicius ahead, with Richarlison probably, Rafinha on the right flank, maybe with 3 midfielders. Let's see what Carlo Ancelotti thinks about the next Brazil.
Gustavo, it's interesting. He says that he wants them to play like Madrid from 2 years ago, that, of course, won the Champions League and La Liga. Does he have the personnel, though, to do that?
Well, I think that he has a lot of quality with the Brazilian players. Yes, Brazil is missing some players, some important players, but I think that with the players that he has now, Ancelotti, of course, has the capacity to make this team a very good team. And I think that in personal, talking about people, I think that the Brazilian players are good enough to have, again, a good team. As I said, I think that, for example, if you're going to play in a 4-4-2 formation, you're going to have Vinicius and Richarlison ahead, Rafinha on the right flank, with Casemiro back, for sure he's going to be a starter, probably with Bruno Guimarães on the midfield. Then let's see if he decides for Gabriel Martinelli on the left flank or one more midfielder. The line, the defense. We have Marquinhos, who's going to play tomorrow the final in the Champions League. He called Alexander from Lille. He had played a very good season in France this season. So Alisson will be the goalkeeper. I still think that we have some problems on both fullbacks. On the right, Wanderson had a good season with Monaco, and the other one is Wesley, is a very young kid from Flamengo. On the left, Alexandro, who has already been in Europe for some years, and now is playing for Flamengo, and Carlos Augusto, who's going to also play the Champions League final tomorrow. So let's see, but I think that Brazil still has a very good squad.
I don't know, Gustavo. I think you're being very optimistic. You've got Richarlison, who can't get in the Spurs team. We know how bad they've been, and Casemiro's 100 years old.
Well, but Carlo Ancelotti believes a lot in Casemiro. No, I think that
maybe he hasn't seen
United
United play for a while.
But I think that Casemiro, on the last weeks, he had some good performance. Of course, that we're not talking about the Casemiro from the 3 Champions League, not the Casemiro in the midfield with Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. But I think that for Carlo Ancelotti, it's very important to have someone to believe in the field, someone who's going to send his message for all the players, you know. And Casemiro is this guy for Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti really has a lot of trust on him.
Frank, you played in the 1998 World Cup against Brazil. None of those players you would expect in this side would get into that side, would they?
No, of course not. And that's the thing, because, Ancelotti is saying Brazil is the best team in the world. Yes, in the history of football, yes, Brazil is the best team in the world, but in the past. And not the recent past. Yes, Casemiro was the best midfielder in the world, but not in the present time, in the past as well. So we are talking about the present and the future of Ancelotti and Brazilian team. So yes, of course, everybody would love to have those players in their disposals, but at the end of the day, you have to find the chemistry. That's what the former coaches didn't find with all the players that they had. They couldn't find the chemistry. They couldn't find a way to work. We're talking about 98. Aimé Jacquet found a way to find players playing like in a club. I just remind you that Cantona and Ginola, for example, weren't with us. And there was maybe a reason why they weren't with us.
Well, you hate Ginola, so that's a good
No,
start.
I don't. He's still my friend.
Kind of.
Don't make it up.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. But don't make it up. But you need to find people who are willing to play together and sacrifice. And if they're on the bench, it's not really a problem because they believe that the people on the field are going to do it. And if they come, it's not a problem because the people, they're going to trust them. That's the chemistry I'm talking about. Right now, what I see is individuals, and we don't find the chemistry in between. They don't find that they want to work together. That's the main problem and the main concern that Brazil had right now.
You think of the stars that you played against, Venezuela against Brazil, you know, men against boys. They were so much better than you, the team just full of so much quality.
Thank you for the reminder. I knew full well.
But now Carlo Ancelotti is saying the right things, singing from the right hymn sheet, but in reality, there is such a gulfing class to what we normally what we grew up with, and normally associate with Brazil.
No, and it's a fair point. And look, let's not forget that we're five World Cups removed from their last World Cup win in 2002. By the time we get to 2026, it would have been 24 years since Brazil has won a World Cup. So it's been a while. It's been a while.
The same difference, Ale, from 1970 to 1994. Just to remember.
Here he comes.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 70s, they had a very bad time. Yeah.
I mean, if honestly, if we're going to put this team currently, right now, in the same category with the 1994 team, this is a different discussion altogether. And that's part of the problem, that the level in talent from one team to the other is significant. I'm going to use the positions that Gustavo was talking about in terms of being an area of problematic areas for Brazil. The outside back. Where's Cafu? Where's Jorginho? Where's Dani Alves? No. Where's Roberto Carlos? Where's Branco? No. Those guys are not walking through that door. And we're talking about outside backs. I'm not even talking about the attacking players. I'm not even talking about the source of creativity. I'm not even talking about the heart of the team. In outside backs, they're short of talent. In the midfield, they're short of talent. And while up top, they may not be short on talent because we think of Rafinha, because we think of Vini Jr., because we think of Rodrigo. The truth of the matter is that none of those guys, in particular Vini Jr. and Rodrigo, have consistently delivered for Brazil. Rafinha is the one that has taken sort of a leadership role, but Vini is yet to deliver for Brazil. Rodrigo is yet to deliver for Brazil, and we're expecting that they're going to do that in 2026. Let me just say this. Brazil right now, where they are, they have quarterfinals at most in the 2026 World Cup, and now by the quarterfinals. And if they are not careful, they may be out in the round of 16. They're going to have to improve who they are before they get to the World Cup in order to think about beyond the quarterfinal stage.
You mentioned Vini Jr., of course, underperforming for Brazil. Let's take a look at what Carlo Ancelotti said, of course, about a man that he's seen grown up at Real Madrid. He's an extraordinary, fantastic, hard-working, a fighter like few others. He's very fond of the national team, and that can affect his natural thinking, putting a lot of pressure on him to do well, which doesn't allow him to make mistakes. Tough, isn't it, Gustavo? You're the guy who wanted to be Ballon d'Or. You're the one who wouldn't turn up to the ceremony. You want to be the best player in the world. You've got to deal with this pressure.
Well, if there's someone in the world who can have the best from Vini is Carlo Ancelotti. The best version of Vinicius Jr. was with Carlo Ancelotti. He's the responsible to make Vinicius a much better player. The best version of Vinicius that we saw in the 23-24 season was with Carlo Ancelotti and with the trust of Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti really believes him, and they have a very good relation. So I really agree with Ale on Vinicius. We have to see the best version of Vinicius yet in the national team. So I think that now is the moment. We are 1 year from the World Cup. We have Carlo Ancelotti, the manager who made him one of the best players in the world. So I think that the moment is now. Vinicius really understands that. He really enjoys now to have Carlo Ancelotti besides him on the national team. So I think that this is the point now, because, for example, without Neymar, all the eyes will be on Vinicius, for sure, because he's still the main star for Brazil, despite the season of Rafinha, but Vinicius is the main star for Brazil. And with Carlo Ancelotti, everybody in Brazil now expects to see the best version of Vini.
United then with the win. Of course, a lot of speculation over the last couple of days about the future of Ruben Amorim. This is what United's coach had to say about it. Not Ruben Amorim, Bruno Fernandes. Oh.
I think he wants to stay. He's saying no to a lot of things, but it shows that he wants to win. And I think he's really young, he's really good. He needs to be on the best league in the world.
Do you think that the amount of money that Al Hilal are offering, supposedly, the club can turn that down given the financial picture?
we can find another way to win money. Of course, I'm the manager, I'm the coach, but sometimes it's a decision of the player. But of course, I talk with him, I explain things, and I just have that feeling. When I talk to someone, you have the feeling if he wants to stay. Of course, sometimes in a lot of games this season he was so frustrated, but he knows what we are doing. So the feeling that I have every time I speak with him is that he wants to continue, for sure, in Manchester United, but you never know.
Don and Jules back with us. Jules, how real is this?
Very real, very real. We know that there are negotiations happening right now between him and Al Hilal, the two clubs too. I don't think Ruben Amorim is telling the truth when he said that Manchester United can turn down £100 million for Bruno Fernandes at his age. As good as he's been for United over the last 5 years, it's a lot of money. It's the money they need. It's the money that they could have had they qualified for the Champions League, which they didn't. And if they want to rebuild this squad and rebuild their team and finally go in the right direction and progress, they need money. They need to find money somewhere. And right now, with a bit of Menu, a bit of Garnacho, but Bruno, I'm sorry, is the most valuable asset that they have. So if the money is there, then I think it's difficult for them to turn down that money. And for him, he might want to stay, but £200 million over 2 seasons is very difficult to say no to, even if you're Bruno Fernandes.
Don, what do you do?
What do I do? I think it's a difficult one. I think if you're Bruno Fernandes, I think you've got a massive decision to make. I'm with Jules. I don't think he knows what his skipper wants to do. I think if you're Man United, well, I would stay. I wouldn't go if I was Bruno Fernandes. Well, unless you want, the money's the obvious one. If you want 200 million, then go and get 200 million. But if you want to leave Man United, go and play for someone else. Go and play for Real Madrid. You know, Toni Kroos ain't there anymore. Luka Modric ain't there anymore. You can get in that side of midfield. Go and play for another European side. Do you really want to go?
But they don't want you, Don.
If that's your
they don't want you. This is your choice.
Move.
Stay at Manchester United or go to South. This is it. There's no other clubs. There's no other interest. This is it.
Context. There's always context.
No. So you would stay?
Well, no. What you would do is you'd have the conversation with Ruben Amorim and say, right, who are you bringing in?
But what difference does it make? You've got no Champions League football. You finished 16th, 15th last season. If you're Bruno...
Well, it makes a massive difference.
Why? Who are you going to bring into Manchester United that's going to make them title contenders in the summer?
There won't be title contenders. So
why stay?
What you do as a player, you have a conversation with the manager and you say to the manager, boss, what's the plan next season? Who are we bringing in next season? Otherwise, if you don't convince me,
I don't understand. I understand.
I'm telling you from a player's point of view.
What's the magic?
I'm telling you from a player's point of view.
I understand.
But you're not listening.
Yeah, no, I am listening. And you're saying that Ruben Amorim is suddenly going to produce this magical list of players that is going to make you want to stay at Manchester United.
I never said magical list of players.
Well, then
I never said magical list of players.
Who are you bringing in that's going to make you that much better?
He can bring in Gyökeres. He can bring in other players. Garnacho's been linked with Napoli for £50 million. Jules just mentioned Kobbie Mainoo. You could sell him for whatever the fee might be, 20, 30, 40, whatever the numbers might be. You might be able to get something back on Rasmus Højlund. There's players out there that can make Man United better. They can't be any worse. So from a player's point of view, if you're asking me the question, what does Bruno Fernandes does? The first thing he does, he knocks on the manager's door and he says to the manager, what's the plan next season? Boss, what are we doing? If the boss says, we've got no funds, we've got no Champions League football, we ain't got anything, we can't do anything, you've got to stay with us. Then you'd go and have the conversation with Al Hilal and you'd probably make the move. But your first priority is having the conversation with your boss to find out what's going to be happening in the summer regarding transfers in.
The problem is, if I have a conversation with Amorim and I'm Bruno Fernandes, and he can say whatever he wants, we'll know that he will need like 5, 6 players, not only 1 or 2. And if you get rid of Garnacho, especially Mainoo, who I highly rank because I think before he got his injury, it was very good. You know that Amorim cannot promise anything, and that's the problem. And you can get 200 million. I checked before the show how old was Bruno Fernandes. He's 30. I always say that over 30, you have the right to choose financials before sports,
right.
and he only won I think the cup with the Sport in Portugal, the cup with Manchester United, and the League Cup with Manchester United. But he has the right to think about money. 200 million is huge, and you can secure the future of even your kids or grandkids or whatever, and so many other generations. And that's the question you have to think about. And if you only have the choice between Manchester United and a club in Saudi Arabia, I will go to Saudi Arabia because I don't see any bright future in a recent future, I would say. So there is nothing you can promise to Bruno Fernandes, even if you are Amorim or some geniuses, whatever you have, because you have so many things to change at the club.
Where are the Morenos going?
Oh, the Morenos. Well, at least I'm going to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if the Morenos are coming with me. All I'll tell you is Ruben Amorim said there, I've had my conversations with Bruno Fernandes, and I have a feeling he wants to stay because he wants to win. It's one of the reasons that Ruben Amorim gave there. And then at that point is when you go, win what exactly? Because we keep talking about it's either Manchester United or Al Hilal. I don't think that it's as straightforward as that. It's this version of Manchester United. It's this Manchester United or Al Hilal. If it was Manchester United at its best or Saudi Arabia, you say, well, of course, Manchester United. But this version of Manchester United is the one that says, I don't think we can get that much better as quickly as I need this team to get better if I'm Bruno Fernandes. And so therefore, I'm thinking, even if we improve, even if we really, really improve, what is the best that we can hope for? Europa League, maybe? Maybe, perhaps?
Yeah.
I just don't see that the leaps and bounds of the improvement for Manchester United are going to happen naturally over the course of the next season or two. And so therefore, if I'm Bruno Fernandes and if I'm the Morenos, Saudi Arabia, here we come, baby.
Don, would you like the last word on this price shout?
No. I'll take Ali's point, but I would stay if the players get bought in.
Oh, you're very stubborn. Yeah. But
Don, he said 100 million doesn't matter to Manchester United. They've sacked half their staff force. They've stopped feeding them because they haven't got the money.
But there's so many players in the Premier League they could turn to. There's so many players they could potentially buy. As long as they get the money in, they could buy Brian Mbeumo, brilliant player. They could buy Morgan Gibbs-White, brilliant player. So Man United are not going to be winning titles tomorrow. I don't think anyone's naive enough to sit here and say, right, the conversation with Ruben Amorim says we're bringing 3 players in. That's it, boys. We're challenging for the league. No one's naive enough to think that. But from a player's point of view, all I'm saying is before you make that jump to Al Hilal, you'd have the conversation with Ruben Amorim and find out what the plan is, if there is one.
Jules, your face has made me smile through this segment, it must be said.
No, because there's a lot of good things being said. I just think, if you just put yourself into Bruno's shoes, he loves the club. Great. He's been, I think, a great servant to the club. And we can mention sometimes him missing in big games. I get that. But it's been 5 years of suffering.
Yeah.
I know there's a League Cup and an FA Cup in there, but he suffered. When you are a top player, when you're in your best years, because this is his best years. He's not 22 anymore. This is his best years. And then you finish 15th. You lose the Europa League final where you don't play well. Your team is dreadful. You've got this new manager who you really like. He's your compatriot. And yet he's worse than the guy that you had before that you didn't like. So it's difficult. And I think this offer is on the table. And he's surely thinking, come on now. I probably have earned the right to not just earn all that money, but also just enjoy a little bit of my football, which he hasn't done really at United, let's be honest.
One man who's definitely on the move, and sooner maybe than we expected, Trent Alexander-Arnold was officially presented as a Real Madrid player today. Jules, am I right in thinking they got him early because they want him at the Club World Cup?
Yeah, he will be there. They had to pay a little fee to Liverpool because his contract obviously expired on June 30th. So there's a month there, and for a month between two clubs like that, you just settle on a bit of money. Nothing too big, nothing that Real Madrid could not pay for Trent to arrive a little bit earlier and start getting used to the team and to Xabi Alonso, and then be ready to be on the plane to the US.
That's crazy. I don't understand it. I mean, I think the players needs to freshen up a little bit, get a rest. You just won the Premier League. I mean, what's the point to play that Club World Cup? I mean, that everybody agrees that nobody cares.
Well, Real Madrid care.
Yeah, supposedly. But do you think with Trent Alexander-Arnold they're going to make the difference? Really?
Well, look what they got at the moment.
Okay, so that would be surprising, but whatever, and... I don't understand. I would be Trent. I would say, you know what? I would say to my agent, talk. I want to rest and I want to prepare. Have a preseason ready to work hard for the club that I just signed. But you jump into something where we all know that the dressing room is not good right now because they didn't win anything, and you're still living on the season you just finished. It's not the new season. You don't erase anything. So. I'm not sure it's a good thing for Trent. For the club, maybe, but for Trent, I'm not sure.
What do you think?
Well, if nothing else, Real Madrid have been consistent with their approach to this competition. they are sacrificing essentially the start of the season for Jude Bellingham because of the shoulder surgery. And now they're doubling down and tripling down and saying, well, we're bringing Xabi Alonso in, and here comes Trent Alexander-Arnold. And so now this tournament becomes, even though it may be insignificant to others, it becomes a must-win for Real Madrid. Why are you making all these decisions? Why are you paying this money if it's not to win this competition? I don't know what Real Madrid achieves by winning the Club World Cup, but apparently it sets them up for success for the future. All I would say is that it seems like they're chasing this for no reason whatsoever, other than maybe about the money.
Yeah, lots of money, of course, 120
About
million.
the money, and that seems to be what drives everything.
Don?
Well, it is about the money, and if they bring in £120 million, I mean, it'll certainly help them going forward. I think for Trent, I disagree a little bit with the boys. I think he's only been back from injury a couple of weeks, so yes, he's had a long, hard season, but he'll be pretty fresh. He can use the Club World Cup as a sort of a springboard to get to know his players. Very, very short term, trying to pick up a little bit of the language before a very busy and hectic season. So potentially, if he goes into that and plays well and finds the system and gets used to the manager and play a few games along the way and try and get to a final, potentially win it, I think it might help them come the start of the season.
The problem is it doesn't make sense because they are seeking for the money while they're ready to spend 10 million.
And the prestige of being the first ever winners of the Club World Cup.
It does, I can see your eyes laughing.
What?
Just you're talking and you're laughing at the same time.
Point. This is what Real Madrid want.
They
want money, they want
the money, but they're ready to spend 10 million.
But imagine, Xabi Alonso comes in and wins his first trophy within a month. What a statement that is.
Okay.
That changes the whole narrative around Real Madrid. It's quite something.
Can I just say that Don made the point there that Trent Alexander can pick up the language while they're playing the Club World Cup, right? How long did it take you to pick up the Spanish language?
I did not pick up the language. 5 years, and I feel...
Oh, what happened? you missed out on the Club World
Given
Cup,
the
that's
history
it.
of English players as well at Real Madrid, Michael Owen can speak anything. Jude can because... Macca's not bad.
Yeah.
Michael Owen.
Yeah.
Jonathan Woodgate was eating fish finger sandwiches for lunch. That's where we're at with Jonathan.
No.
Meanwhile, a couple of deals that have been done. Frimpong then coming in to Liverpool. Of course, a lot of excitement around him. He will be bolstered to the Premier League winning squad. And also, Florian Wirtz, suggestions there has been an official offer now of 130 million. For the German international. That, of course, would be a club record. To keep up to date with all of those transfers, be sure to check out Transfer Talk over on ESPN.com. A busy summer ahead indeed. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Jules, how many people are in that bedroom at the moment?
Only me and the two boys.
Okay,
so
three boys.
It's a big room.
Oh, darling. Okay, well, that's all right. Frank wanted to know how old you were.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 44. I'll be 45.
There you go. See, I said,
because
I said my age.
Before the show, we saw the kids, and they were tall and seemed to be older than, 20, 25?
No, kids are not 20, 25.
Rafa is 16.
They're tall.
Rafael is 16.
They're tall. You're not that tall.
Maximilian 12.
Oh, okay.
Are they both taller than you, Jules?
Raphael, who is 16, is catching me. Maximilian is 12, and Margot, she's 7. She's still in London, obviously, with my wife. But they're not going to be. They're going to be like 7 foot either. You know, I don't even know how many foot that 7 foot is in meters. But they're big, good size.
It's interesting, Jules. You were mentioning in the show that obviously your brother's there, or your kids are there, your dog walker's there. How did you get all those tickets, Jules? Who have you been
I know a
tapping
lot of people, Dan.
Wow.
I made a lot of phone calls.
And he predicted that Paris Saint-Germain would lose.
Yeah.
The guy pays tickets to see Paris Saint-Germain losing.
He's crying it in.
I remember
He's
for the
crying
Euro.
it in.
Was it the Euros final? Was it England-Italy? I can't remember wherever the Euros was. And you were boasting that you knew Gianni Infantino. You're like, oh, I've got his number. I said, look, you can give him a call and get him 2 tickets to the final. Didn't call him for me, did you?
No, I
didn't
didn't.
even try.
I didn't.
Disappointing.
Yeah, because I get freebies, but I don't get tickets. I don't buy tickets.
I'm sure you could if you gave old Gianni a call.
Yes.
He'd sort you out.
Yeah, sure. But you're not my friend.
Give him a pair of Skechers.
They're very comfortable, you see.
They're
They're
slipping.
slipping. Yeah, they slip in.
Other shoes are available. Oh, this is right up your street, Don, considering what you were talking about, Bruno. We talked about whether or not Bruno should leave, but what about the other side of the coin? Given United could buy 3 to 4 quality players with the PSR space provided from selling Bruno for 100 million, would you keep him or sell him?
Wow, that's a different conversation altogether, but it's a brilliant question because that's probably what Man United are probably thinking right here, right now. Do we take the 100 million? Do we bring in 3 or 4 other players? Maybe it's a little bit like when Coutinho left Liverpool, but it's massively different in terms of the players that they brought in, and Alisson and Van Dijk. I mean, Man United are not bringing that calibre of player in, but I mentioned Brian and Wermo.
Don, you were telling me during the show that they could bring in the sort of calibre of player that puts them back up the table. Now you're saying they can't bring any calibre of player in.
No, Daniel. This is where you get it wrong. This is where you get it wrong. I didn't say calibre of player to get them back to the top. I said I'm not naive enough to think 3 or 4 players wouldn't take them a title, but surely they can improve on where they're at this season. Surely 3 or 4 good young players, or players with a good work ethic on top of what they've got, can certainly get them back into European football. Come on, they can't be this bad again.
So if you're United, do you sell him or not, Don?
Yeah.
No.
There you go.
So no Bruno.
No,
no Bruno.
If they spend it wisely and they bring in really good players, they bring in 3 or 4 really good players.
What have you got? 25.
Yes.
Liverpool are going to spend 130 million on Florian Wirtz. Yeah. What are you going to get for 30 million?
I know.
Liam Delap's gone to Chelsea.
And Werner wouldn't cost massive. Listen, there's players out there you can bring in. I mean, what did Alexander McAllister sign for Liverpool for? Was it 35 million?
Yeah, but Don, everybody wants to come to Liverpool.
Come on, there's players out there.
Who's player?
You'd rate Serie A.
Who other players want to come to Manchester United right now? And that was the problem with Arsenal, and Jules can witness that. That was the problem maybe for Chelsea as well sometimes. But right now, nobody, if he has a certain pedigree, wants to come to Manchester United. It's what they achieved. That's the problem, because you know that you're not going to win anything. That's the problem.
The biggest problem that they've got on top of Bruno Fernandes, and he is not the problem, by the way. Bruno Fernandes is not the problem. It's guys like Marcus Rashford and it's guys like Mason Mount are on 350 on even more money, like £1,000 a week. They've got guys who are not even playing for them. I mean, if Rashford goes
so if you're
to
Bruno,
Barcelona,
why would you stay there?
Which is the rumour. They're going to have because they're not good enough. Because they're not good enough. Because Rashford not good enough to take Man United where they want to be. If he goes to Barcelona, he's going to be sat on the bench. And Man United are going to be paying their wages.
Let me just get this straight. In the same conversation, Don has told Bruno Fernandes to stay, but has told the club to sell Bruno Fernandes.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
all right.
No, it's definitely. Again,
it's what Amorim says to him.
These little things you don't listen to, Ali. You don't listen.
No, because
Amorim
only tells the truth.
You don't listen.
Only tells the truth.
You hear what you want to hear. You hear what you want to hear.
It says a lot about. It says a lot about what Manchester United has become. So even to explain something is really hard.
Well, for Don, that's quite hard to explain.
Every subject is difficult.
Come on, Bruno, stay, Bruno. Come on, stay.
But sell him.
Stay. Don't take the money. But go if you want.
Jules, many clubs, including Premier League big-size clubs like Liverpool, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, need a striker, but none of them are really linked to Osimhen. Why? Is there an issue that these clubs know that fans don't?
I think United are the club right now linked with Osimhen, and I think I was told today that things that the negotiation or talks are there between United and Osimhen. The thing with Osimhen, and we saw what happened at Napoli, great player on the pitch, and Don commentated on him many times. I've seen him many times on the pitch.
Saudi Jules. Saudi Jules is the rumour. Saudi Jules is the rumour for Osimhen.
Off the pitch, it's more difficult with Osimhen.
Right.
There's a lot of things that are difficult with Osimhen.
Like
sometimes.
what, Jules?
Yeah.
And that. But just remember with Napoli, he didn't like something. I mean, to be fair, the club was not great either. Some of the stuff they put on social media. But also when he wanted a new contract, he deleted everything from Napoli on his social media. He was not happy with where the negotiations were going or the offer on the table. So he was sulking and he didn't want to play. And there was this and there was always something. to the point that in the end, they didn't want to keep him. They had to loan him at Galatasaray with a release clause that was much lower than what they wanted initially. But a player like Osimhen, if you just stay on the player, he should never play for Galatasaray. No offense to Galatasaray in the Turkish league, but he's better than that, really. So there's a reason why he ended up at Galatasaray and not at one of the top Premier League clubs, for example.
Here we go then, Don. We'll be nice to you. I feel like we've been mean to Don today. Sorry.
You have.
No, I haven't.
No, you go for it, Dan. I love it.
That was not said. Obligatory percentage question for Don. What is the percentage chance that Manchester United finish outside of the European places in the Premier League?
It depends if they keep Bruno Fernandes or not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're just on this hamster wheel of Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Are they selling him? Are they keeping him? Are they going to buy players? Am I sitting here right now on the squad they've got? What's the question?
The question is, what is the percentage chance of United finishing outside of the European places in the Premier League next year? But Don, who are they going to bring? Oh no!
No, don't.
Okay. What,
No. I'll answer the question. I'll give it. They've got a 40% chance of getting back into European football because
Okay.
they'll have
So
no
60%,
European football
so
to play
60.
for next season.
So 60%.
Thank you very much, Frank. There you are.
Yeah.
Found
Wow.
your use.
Yeah, you know, and I know why I came. But well,
So 60% that they're finishing outside of Europe,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to follow the line and the process.
That's right.
The thought process for
Don,
Don.
you're coming out here soon, aren't you, Don?
Hey, I'm mate. I'm out on the 8th.
There we are.
You still there, Frank?
Beautiful.
No, I don't think so. When he's coming in the 8th, no. I'll be gone before. I would have loved to see you and have those conversations because the debates are very interesting.
Okay.
I'm stuck with those two.
That didn't
I'm
sound
stuck
very
with those two.
genuine.
I'm right in the middle of those two for a week.
For Jules, with your Arsenal ways, what are your thoughts on Sesko?
I like him a lot. I think he's got people at the club who like him a lot too. Same with Gyökeres. He's younger than Gyökeres. I think he's all around probably a better player. The thing is, we've said it for so long, they want a striker, they're going to get a striker. Sesko is a very good striker. He can do a lot of other things on the pitch too. But scoring goals, he has never scored more than 20 goals a season in all competitions. So again, you just need to know that. That doesn't mean that he can't go from 20 to 40 next season in a better team like Arsenal in the Premier League. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he cannot score at all. I'm just saying that Gyökeres scored 56 goals this season in a much weaker league than the Bundesliga. Okay, Sesko scored 13 goals or 14 goals in the Bundesliga this season. So the numbers are different. So it just depends what you want. If you're Arsenal or what you want as a fan, who you like. If you like a better all-rounder like Sesko, if you want somebody like Gyökeres who's a bit older and clearly just a finisher, all about goals, finishing. You can do other things, of course. He's not just a finisher, but so there are two different profiles too. So it depends what you want, what you need, but you just need to be aware of those numbers too.
Back to Don, and this is just context, Don. This isn't anything else. So Don has made two bets during his time on ESPN FC. One was me, that Arsenal wouldn't finish in the top four. They finished second.
Okay.
One was Surloff.
Right. Can I just say that bet was made well before they spent 100 million on Declan Rice and well before they bought 3 players in. So
Okay.
a little bit of context there, Daniel.
Okay.
Okay.
Quite sure if that's true.
Okay.
And meanwhile,
It is.
Alexander-Arnold wouldn't get 10 La Liga goals. I believe he had 20 in the end. So they're the two wagers that Don has made and failed on both.
Yeah.
Don, the percentage chance you make a winning wager next year?
100%. 100%.
100%?
What I should have went for. What I should have went for on Sherlock is not starting 10 games.
There you go. Well, I think he did.
Started about 4 games and scored 50 goals.
Who did he put winning the Premier League? Because I remember he played for Liverpool.
Oh, and what did you put? Who was going to win the Premier League?
I think I was right. I put Liverpool.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so I won, and I don't understand that the former Liverpool player couldn't be clear enough to.
Stop being mean to Don. We'll get
Okay,
into trouble.
true. I love you, Don.
Well, you digging in me now, Frank, are you? You're getting sucked into
because I
these two,
love
Frank.
you. Because I love you, you know that.
Why so much hate on Chelsea, Frank?
Oh, what happened?
For winning the Conference League. Betis was tougher competition than the team Spurs played in Europa. Also qualified for Champions League. How much more can anybody want for them to be satisfied?
I don't. Well, if it's the question was for me, I don't hate Chelsea. I think I love Chelsea more than any other club. But you have to be fair. In order, like everybody who I saw on social networks, everybody's happy that the Chelsea is the club who won all the cups. And as I said in the show, in order to win the Conference League Cup, you need to have a bad season the season before. That's what it is. And when you're a big club like Chelsea, you shouldn't be in the Conference League. So you shouldn't brag by winning the Conference League. You did it, well done, good job, another cup, that's fine. But that's not what you are. You want to expect and you want to challenge. And after, yes, it's good that they finished fourth and got the Champions League. But I'm still cautious about Chelsea because we don't know where we go next season. With the trading business that they have, we don't know where we go. So yes, Mr. Maresca bragged a little bit after, and we talked about it, and even lied, saying that he had no doubts. I think like everybody else, and even the biggest fan of the biggest fan at Chelsea, they had doubts in December, January, because they started to lose every game. But good for them. And let's see what's going on next season. Let's see what they're going to bring, because they need to bring some experienced players. And as long as they don't do that, they're going to suffer, and we won't know where they're going to go.
Final question, Don. How crazy is that Liverpool won the league but is adding Frimpong, Wirtz and possibly Kerkez to the team? What is the percentage chance that they run away with the league again next season?
Yeah, there's no chance they're going to run away with the league. I mean, that's just not going to happen. But I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson always said strengthen while you're at the top. That's exactly what they're trying to do. So it's amazing. It must be great for Liverpool fans to see the likes of Florian Wirtz, if he does sign. We were chatting on the show the other day, he's a sort of cross between Philippe Coutinho and Musiala. So, I mean, what a signing. He'll probably play as the false
What's
sign.
the percentage, Don?
Well, 0, I said, because they're not going to run away with the title.
Okay, what about to win the
question
title?
Is run away with
what
the
about
title?
win the title?
Okay, so you're changing the question, are you?
I'm going to change the goalpost slightly just for interest.
Percentage chance, 40.
40, and then Arsenal or Liverpool? Arsenal.
No, I'm not going into them. I'm just giving you a Liverpool 40.
Why do you hate Liverpool?
It's overload.
So who's going to push them the furthest then?
That's a great question. I don't think I could split Arsenal and City.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be between those three
Don't think
clubs.
I'll split.
That's it.
What about Chelsea?
Again,
You hate them.
No, I
Consider
don't.
them
I
in the
don't.
Premier League.
Of course
And that's
not.
it, Jules. Get some rest with your boys. Enjoy tomorrow. Don, thank you very much. I'm sorry
Thank
for
you.
everybody's attitude towards you.
Allez Paris, Jules. Allez Paris.
You don't
Allez
care.
Paris, mon frère. Allez Paris.
No, that's for him. I'm being nice. You know. But it's I do care. I do care. I like also Pavard and Thuram, so I'm going to be fair. But I want Paris Saint-Germain to win.
Okay,
Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
watch it together tomorrow.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Yeah,
Lovely.
it's going to be nice.
ESPN FC then, back on your screens tomorrow to react.
Forza Inter.
Well, there we are, Forza Inter for the Champions League final.
Did you know that he commentated on Inter a few times?
PSG are taking on Inter. Stop it, Bean.
What? I'm sorry, Don.
He's not.